Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and it's been a slow Monday morning for me. We've gotten going pretty slow today. Now, you know, one of the main theme, I think, of the whole ETHgate thing is, I think the XRP army was representative of a lot of people across America who are just sick and tired of being sick and tired of the corruption. And so this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with crypto, but I saw it this morning and it just pissed me off, to be quite honest. Remember the other day when Nancy Pelosi, it was going around that she, and I do mean crazy, whack job, lunatic Nancy Pelosi, it was going around that she had bet 7-figure bet on NVIDIA over Christmas, exposed. Despite efforts to ban lawmakers from stock trading, the controversy rages on. Well, this is how arrogant and sick these people are. They don't give a rat's behind of what Americans think of them. And until people start going, till these politicians and the bureaucrats that they're putting in place to have a lack of faithful allegiance to the law, until they start going to prison, this will all continue. Because this was from January 2nd. This is from today.
Yeah, so exactly like you said, Shauna, this is our stock to watch today because NVIDIA's market cap stands to have a broader impact on today's trade than some of those other noisy names we've been talking about, like those airlines. Now, why is this stock moving this morning? It's off of that news that NVIDIA is going to be delivering more powerful AI chips, one specific chip in Q2 of 2024 in China. And previously, this had come from NVIDIA. They were working on 2 other chips that would allow them to sell those chips in China in compliance with U.S. regulatory measures. However, this chip...
What a coincidence it has to do with China, too.
...is a little bit more exciting to consumers in China, and that's because it's more powerful than those previous 2 chips. We heard from Alibaba, from Huawei previously, that they were not excited about a less good chip from NVIDIA. This chip news today stands to change that. So over the next couple of days, we'll want to see if we're getting any commentary, any reaction from Alibaba, from Huawei on how they feel about this new, more powerful AI chip coming from NVIDIA in Q2 of 2024.
You know who does have an AI chip? I think the biggest chip is Cerebras, by the way, new AI chip, 850,000 cores, 2.6 trillion transistors, 40 gigabytes SRAM, whatever all that means. But anyway, now this just happens to be on Link2's platform, private equity, my sponsor. And guess what? There is no inside information on this one. We don't have access to what Nancy Pelosi has access to. But if you're interested in Cerebras, which I don't own any yet, but I'm thinking about, I need to make a move into the AI stuff. Now, speaking of whack jobs, this is Michael Saylor. Now, first I'll play this for you and then we'll get into it.
And there's every indication that nation states are embracing it. Jerome Powell says it's a digital asset. Christina Lagarde says it's a digital asset. The head of the SEC taught a class on it. I think that people understand it's not a threat.
Did he just act like Christine Lagarde was talking good about Bitcoin? Because no, she has not. In fact, she has literally said not Bitcoin.
The dollar, by the way. What's going to happen is the U.S. dollar is going to be the world reserve currency, and it's going to run on billions and billions of mobile devices. And the digital asset that underlies that currency is going to be Bitcoin.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. This is something that nobody ever talks about, but we talk about it here because we don't beat around the bush. And we don't try to pretend like things that are the truth that's standing right in the middle of the room does not exist. I'm surprised nobody ever really thinks this through. This is not a bore. There is not a board in the United States that would allow, look, regardless, even if you're a believer in Bitcoin, we all acknowledge that crypto is very high risk. Even whether you like XRP, Bitcoin, whatever you like, crypto is high risk. And you're telling me that a board of directors for a U.S. company is going to approve buying one of the most risky assets in bulk, literally selling MicroStrategy shares to buy Bitcoin, but doing it over and over and over? You're telling me that a board would allow that? Think about their fiduciary duty to their shareholders. Think about it. This looks a lot more like a government board than a corporate board, because this just flat wouldn't be allowed in real life. Wouldn't, unless there's more to it. Now, then we've got this. Grayscale has dropped its 2% management fee to 1.5%. This is something that has me baffled. All of a sudden, all the Bitcoin maxis, Ethereum maxis, and all the narrative carriers for Bitcoin and Ethereum from all these years, they've never wanted to talk about the transaction fees. That's never been an issue with Bitcoin or Ethereum, the transaction issues. In fact, when it came up, they tried to downplay it. As XRP people, we've always been sitting here going, "What? Wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. XRP costs nothing to send, but Bitcoin and Ethereum transaction fees are ridiculous. And you have to wait for with Bitcoin, you have to wait for all these confirmations. It doesn't make any sense." But now the same people who never wanted to talk transaction fees because it didn't matter or they didn't want to talk about it, all they care about is the fees on the Bitcoin ETF. This doesn't sync up with common sense to me. And that's why I smell a rat. That's why I've smelled a rat with the whole Bitcoin Ethereum thing for many years now. I also smelled a rat with the Lightning Network. Watch this, Jim. Here's the guy trying to show you how great the Lightning Network is, and watch what happens.
But what they're failing to recognize is that I can hold up my phone and Ryan Gentry, who I hadn't sent 1,000 sats to yet, I can push send, right, without asking him his address. And boom, it just like goes, the money just magically shows up in his account. And of course, this is the one time that is not unable to, you don't have your wallet configured with Nostr. So how do you beat something like that? You can't. You can't beat something like that.
Well, you can beat it because XRP actually works and has been a Lightning Network since I first discovered it in 2013. That's the thing. You don't need a Lightning Network. I've never understood this whole thing. All you got to do is put Bitcoin on the ledger and it solves all the problems. Remember when USDC, when it put on Stellar Network? And I was making the point here, XRP's always been a Lightning Network. And this is from the adults in the room. This is another thing that I wanted to point out. All these Bitcoin maxis are jumping up and down about how excited they are about a Bitcoin ETF. But what the Bitcoin ETF really symbolizes is the co-opting of Bitcoin by Wall Street and but more important, the control. Does anybody remember when Chris Giancarlo was in that article on CoinDesk a few years back? Lessons from '08. Remember, this guy was the CFTC chairman. The Bitcoin bubble of 2017 must be viewed in the context of the financial crisis, he said. 2008, the former regulator was running GFI Group, an over-the-counter trading desk on Wall Street. Giancarlo said, coming out of the 2008 financial crisis, the legit criticism of regulators was along the lines of, where were they during the expansion of the real estate mortgage bubble? And why didn't they take steps to pop that bubble when they could have? I believe that that's what this is about, folks, is by doing the ETFs and controlling the supply, they will be able to pop any bubbles as necessary. They'll be able to, if you control the supply, especially when it's so limited, just think about what the government has. First of all, you got the Mt. Gox Bitcoin. Then you got Satoshi's wallet, which we know that the government knows who the 4 Satoshis are, which means that they must control the wallet too, okay? That probably would have been a requirement if they didn't create it themselves. I imagine they would have said to the 4 Satoshis, okay, you give us control of the wallet and we leave you alone. That's probably how that conversation would have gone, but I think it's more suspect. I think the government probably was involved in actually creating it. But between the Bitcoin ETFs, you got MicroStrategy, which has accumulated, I think, like 3%, which that's why I'm saying Michael Saylor, that feels a lot more like a government operation than it does some company called MicroStrategy. It feels like somebody who was commissioned by the government to go out and accumulate all this in the name of his company. This is what it feels like to me. Now, there is an XRP documentary that's being worked on as we speak. It's called XRP Unleashed. I've actually talked to the guy who's making this film. Watch this. This is the trailer they put out this past Friday.
They brought a lawsuit against Chris Larson, the co-founder of Ripple. They brought a lawsuit against me, and they brought a lawsuit against Ripple. This wasn't just an attack on Ripple. It was an attack on the entire crypto industry.
Ripple, or otherwise known as XRP, just won in their case against the SEC.
So what is XRP? XRP is the GOAT.
I would say that XRP, in essence, is a faster payments settlement software.
I could just pass you my currency to your currency from maybe the US dollar over to the yuan in seconds for very, very, very low cost.
Crypto as a whole is like the last step in the process of making everything digital.
And now that it's been deemed, not a security, the only cryptocurrency with regulatory clarity, it's a great time to be a part of the XRP army.
What is the XRP army? How did you get involved with that?
The XRP army is a revolution.
Yo! Well, I'm going to show you in today's video what the FDIC prepared.
One look at what the Bank of International Settlements just released yesterday.
Pushing the envelope for change.
We're going to rise from the ashes.
We assemble an army so that we can be at the forefront of this change.
You're going to see a massive, massive shift.
If you don't adopt, you will get left behind.
Inside Ripple's epic battle with the SEC. So these guys, by the way, these guys are going around, and if you're wanting to be in this film, these guys are talking to people right now. I know they're at fruition_films. You want to check it out. Stephen Narioff, he's meeting with Eleanor Terrett, I guess this week. Says get ready for a compelling journey into the truth behind ETHgate, the DAO hack, and more. Huge props. He's thanking everyone for helping out and making this happen. This is going to be very interesting. I need to emphasize how crucial Boring Sleuth and his associates have been to verifying and extending our discoveries. His data helps ensure we will see accountability. The complexity of his work can't be underestimated, particularly as people have tried to hide their trail. What's interesting is that Chainalysis is the leading company in all of this, and they haven't helped at all. I find that pretty darn interesting. Okay, now something I've totally messed up on yesterday. I told everybody that there was another when it came to the custody. What I was talking about is the custody of all this Bitcoin. When this ETF's approved, somebody's going to have to trade for these institutions. Somebody's going to be trading that Bitcoin, and they're going to be custodying that Bitcoin. And there was a tweet about how Coinbase was the top of the custody chain. Well, there's another. And I forgot, I literally said I was going to tell everybody when we went into the DAIXRP.com group and that I was going to talk about who that was. And I flat forgot about talking about who it was. Some people in the group already know because I've mentioned it in there. But today I'm not going to forget. As we go into DAIXRP.com, we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about a lot of there's so many of what used to be called conspiracies that are now proven to be true. We're going to talk about another really fascinating one that comes out of San Francisco. And this is interesting. I'm going to show you this. This is one that's been proven true, and it's fascinating. I'm in the process of studying it myself now, and it's for real. And it involves like major people. Now, so I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. DAIXRP.com is the way.